What is up, everyone? I'm Skratch. Welcome to the channel. This is another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today, guys, we are not alone. This is actually the very first time when we got Kruzan on the channel. What's up, buddy? How is it going? Nice to finally have you on here.
Oh, thanks for having me here, brother. I'm anxious to do it.
Anxious to do it. A pleasure to have you on, bro. Like, I meant to reach out to you like ages ago, but just life got in the way, kept me busy and stuff. Guys, I will leave the link to his channel in the pinned comment, so make sure you guys head over and check him out. He's doing live streams pretty much every single day on Live Arena. He is playing on one of the most insane accounts in the entire game, and that is the Doc Moreau account, who is, by the way, the #1 player on the Live Arena leaderboard. So he's putting in some serious work. Look at that, almost 10,000 fights. You're almost there, bro.
Yeah.
almost there. So he's a super stacked account. He's doing videos from his own account as well, tons of different content, so make sure you guys head over and check him out. Basically, what we're gonna do in today's video, guys, is the ultimate mythical tier list. Now we've got a soft rebalance on a few champions, so quite a few things changed. And the reason why I really wanted to do this with Kruzan is because he is playing that stacked account, which pretty much has every single mythical champion except one, and that is Androc. So he does have a lot of experience as well with the mythical champions, and the main thing is, when you're getting a mythical champion, you want to get excited. You want to feel like, oh my god, I finally got something good that will carry my account. Now, what we are going to take in consideration, guys, of course, is how useful is this champion through the entire existence of Raid Shadow Legends. So if you're early game, mid game, late game, right, we're going to take all that in consideration when we are actually putting the champions on the tier list. Now, one thing that I do want to mention, we're not purely going to focus on arena only. This will be a tier list with general use, and this will be taken in consideration. Yes, arena is important and all that, but can they work anywhere else? Can they actually provide some utility on our accounts, right? So that's kind of like how we want to do it. By the way, before we even start with that, Kruzan, what's your most favorite mythical champion?
Oh, I have to say it. The funniest one to play with, it's Siegfrund.
Siegfrund, yeah.
My favorite.
Is your favorite. He's pretty crazy though. I got lucky enough to summon him on the last 2x. I don't have a 6-star for him to do crazy things with him yet, but he's definitely tons and tons of fun. And how are you feeling about the newly added mythical champions? Like we had recently Komidus, we had Nice. I think they are some of the latest that were added to the game, and including this orc Asnar. Yeah. What do you think about them?
Brother, I have to say, at the first sight, Komidus doesn't look at so good. But when we started testing him, this champion is something that changed the arena meta of the live arena and something on the classic arena. So I think out of the newest ones, Komidus is something that really changed how we play arena. He's one of the most incredible champions in the game. At the same time, Nice is one of the most incredible mythicals, all of them. He can be a very interesting champion to use. He has a very interesting kit. It's one of these champions that has double source of damage, attack, and HP. And he has a very interesting kit about keeping. He's the champion that can go one solo against the entire army, and he still can win the battle against all of your opponent champions. He's this kind of champion. As soon as you start to losing the battle, Nice gets stronger, and he can win the match against 4 opponents sometimes. It's a crazy champion that keeps growing up during the battle. He's a more progressive champion that will gain status, steal status, revive your champions, keep him alive, gain more HP and things like that. So he's one of my funniest ones to play with.
Yeah, he's definitely very solid. Like I can't remember exactly what opponent I had. Maybe it was Doomin, my clanmate. He only had Nice left alive. I had Taras, I had Marichka. Bro, I could not kill Nice, okay? So my Taras was barely doing a quarter of his HP with the A2. And my Taras is not trash. He's not the most godly Taras in the game or anything like that, but he usually puts most of the champions to sleep, you know? I could not kill Nice, and he ended my entire team. He's definitely one of my most wanted champions in the game at the moment. Unfortunately, when we actually gain access on the test server to this one, I did not have a chance to make a video on him, but he's definitely pretty nasty. Komidus, on the other hand, as you mentioned as well, initially he did not seem as powerful, and I feel like now the main thing that makes him so powerful is the pinpoint set, you know, because right now you're so freaking worried with that pinpoint set. So I personally have a kind of like an issue in live arena when the opponent gets Armans and then he gets Komidus. I'm like, okay, I'm a bit messed up here. Who am I banning now? Because even if I have polymorph on all of my champions, that guy comes in with pinpoint and it's game over for my team. You know, he's gonna instantly ban my Marichka no matter what I'm doing. You know, so it's pretty much game over. So I definitely think that he's very impactful on the meta. And then we have Ashnar. What do you think about this bad boy?
In general view, he won't be the most useful champion of all mythicals, but he can play some roles. He's an HP burn champion that has the ability to instantly activate the HP burn. So you can use him as a HP burn procer, you know, someone that will just activate it. And it's very interesting for some dungeons that you use this, like Spider itself. You have 6 seconds, 8 seconds, 9-second teams using HP burn. And this champion can be one of the ones that you're going to use for activate instantly these HP burn, and he's more interesting for these, and he's able to do very good damage on Hydra. On Hydra, he can do damage as a HP burn champion, and he has really decent amount of damage, not crazy, but he can do damage at the same time he can do the HP burns, not only the HP burn.
Yeah. He's definitely okay-ish, mainly for people that are not in the end game looking for anything spectacular. He's not spectacular, let me just put it like that, you know, but he can provide a bit of utility, I guess. The problem is you gotta book these mythicals. They're super hard to get those books, you know, and if you're not a Kraken, a whale, you know, to get and book a champion like him, in my opinion, it would not be worth doing, you know. Even though you might think you're never gonna get another mythical champion, never say never, you know. But
yeah, I had 33 mythical books on my account, and I said, okay, I'm never gonna use them. In 1 week,
you got enough that you're like, okay, I need more books, huh?
Yeah, I'm missing books now.
That's exactly my situation too. Like, I have a few mythicals, but I definitely need books. So, talking about the tier list, guys, we have all of the mythical champions right here. They are exactly 20 mythical champions in the game right now. We have S tier. We're not gonna do S tier like all of those Chinese gacha games and stuff, because it's pretty relevant to raid. But we're gonna do S, A, B, C, and D. Now, in the S tier will be only the most powerful champions that bring utility all around in the game. I'm not gonna talk about arena only and that's it, just overall in general, you know. So we have the list right here, as you can see it as well. They're cruising. So we're gonna start with the very top champion right here, and that is Calamitus, the undead mythical champion. What is your quick take on this champion? Have you played him? Have you kind of like tried him out to see what's his full potential?
I tried to build him full damage for arena. I tried to build him more utility for Hydra. For arena, he was kind of nothing what I expected. He has a very cool looking.
Yeah, he is.
He feels like he's going to do damage. He's the death itself.
Yeah.
But he does not bring death to your opponents on arena.
No.
But on the Hydra, decrease defense and hex on a single champion that can overcome Poison Cloud. Brother, this is really good on Hydra. Your damage with a team with Calamitus and other nukers, usually Calamitus do a lot more damage because he can do his own damage. That's a real good damage on Hydra, and he can spread the damage of your other champions. So the damage overall grows up by a far amount. So I think he's really good at Hydra. Really good.
I think he's pretty decent in the Hydra clan boss. My main complaint with this champion, in my opinion, is that his cooldowns are too long, you know, and he does need either ignore defense around all of his kit or something like in a passive, either increase those multipliers to actually really feel it. Like, not every champion that deals crazy damage needs to have ignore defense, but they need to have something that will increase that damage in some way. So me personally, I feel like out of all of the mythical champions that we currently have in the game, including all of the buffs that we recently got, I feel like he is the least useful champion out of all of the mythicals. What do you think about that part? Am I a bit too harsh on it?
Yeah, I think you were too harsh on it.
Am I? Yeah?
If I, in my opinion, the next three that needs a buff, he's one of them.
Yeah.
For sure. But I think the most useless one right now is Androc.
Androc.
I think you won't find the area of the game that he shines at least a bit.
Mm-hmm.
At least a bit.
Gotcha.
I think he is out of enlightenment right now.
So where would you put Calamitus? In what tier?
I think I would put him on C tier.
Yeah, I would put him there as well, to be honest. I don't think we're really gonna get any of the mythicals in the D tier, to be honest, because they really need to be super, super bad and completely useless everywhere. Who knows? Maybe we're gonna get to Androc in a second and we're gonna change our mind. Then we have Arbais. Arbais was one of the very first mythical champions added to the game, if I'm not mistaken, and yes, she is very, very useful. You're getting Thermitter boost, you're getting Revive on Dead, Buff Strip, you're getting Healing, you're getting the Stone Skin, you're getting that Taunt on her. They increase attack, they increase accuracy, the passive with Petrifications, decrease speed, or polymorphing her instead. There are tons of different things that can happen. What do you think about Arbais?
Out of the 5 original Mythicals, I think she's the only one that has the perfect kit that doesn't need any buff or any nerf. Her kit is well balanced. She can do so many things that you even have trouble into building her because she can do so much things that you have doubts. What am I going to build her? She's gonna be the speed lead, the speed booster. She's gonna be the tanky. She's gonna be the buffer. She's gonna be everything at the same time. There is so much utility on her.
Yeah,
she's incredible. Her status are very high. The HP, the defense, the speed, everything on her is very high. I think she's a perfect example of a mythical. She can do everything.
Yeah,
everything she was meant to do, she can do.
100%. I think she's actually pretty solid. Initially, I wasn't feeling most of the mythicals, but I feel like because we got 5 of them together, 4 of them felt pretty underwhelming. I kind of like got to that point where I'm like, okay, they all suck, you know? But she's actually very solid. Now, I encounter people using her in live arena pretty much all the freaking time as a Thermitter booster. How are you building yours, for example?
I swap a lot the builds on her. Because she has a very interesting thing. She can be one of the fastest champions in the game because she's a mythical, so her empowerment and her blessings will give her a lot of status. Her 6-star blessing gives her more 20 speed. She has the perfect base speed.
Yeah.
So she can be, no doubt, one of the fastest champions in the game. And she also has a speed aura, 25%, and a speed boost of 30% with increased attack and increased accuracy. She's insanely good for the role as a speed booster. But at the same time, her tank kit, the tankness part of her kit is also perfect. So every month I keep swapping between a speed booster and a more focus on tanking.
So where would you place Arbais in the tier list?
Definitely on A tier.
A tier, yeah, I think so as well. She's definitely very, very solid. Now, we already talked a bit about Nice, right? The other Sylvan Watcher mythical champion. What do you think about this bad boy? Like, he is very useful in arena, right? He can definitely be useful in other content as well. He's not really gonna speed farm dungeons. I've never tried him in the Hydra, to be honest, so I'm not really expecting him to bring in crazy damage. What do you think about that part of the game, you know?
Yeah, if it was only arena, he is definitely S tier, and probably the most S tier of all of them. He's the most complete champion with all of the mythicals in the arena right now. He's very troublesome, very powerful, very decisive on the battles. But in general, all areas of the game, dungeons, campaign, things like that, I think he would be B tier.
Mm-hmm.
not even A tier,
Yeah,
because the only area that he really shines is arena. He can solo some dungeons, but it will take a long amount of time.
yeah. Definitely
He won't die,
not the
but he will.
greatest thing.
Yeah.
I think personally, I would put him in the A tier, maybe even an A plus. Just because he's so freaking powerful in arena. What do you think?
Okay, I agree. He can be A. He can be A.
Yeah.
I love him in arena so much that I would put him on S tier if it was arena only. But in general, he's not S tier
Yeah,
like the
I
others.
think an A is a good compromise. Just thinking at everything that he can do, what the rest of them can do. So I feel like is a pretty good spot. Then we have
Yeah.
Mezomel. She recently got a buff. They increased a bit her multipliers. She ignores defense now. What's your take on her after the buff?
Oh my god, she is deadly. Deadly. It's hard to see someone surviving her, even proc in reaction.
Mm,
Even being Harima or something like this that has a passive aura that decreases ignore defense effects. But it's very hard to survive to her.
yeah,
Right now, if you see a Mezomel, you're gonna have to think about how you're gonna make your nukers or squishy champions, even tankier champions survive.
mm,
Because she's going to delete someone from the game. And that one is not going to be back.
100%. I feel like the only champions that can kind of like counter her, Taras. I'm pretty convinced she's not gonna one shot Taras, and it's a lot of a gamble with magic champions, right? Like you
Yeah.
can bring in a Rotos, you can bring in a Lazarius, you can bring in a Siegfrund, and you're not sure what to expect from it because you might weak hit. But other than that, she's definitely gonna put pretty much everyone to sleep, Narcissus, Harimas, etc. So I do think that even though I would have liked her to be slightly stronger than she is currently, I still think that she is much better than she was before. But I think personally, I would put her in the B tier. She is a deadly
Yeah.
force for Arena, but other than Arena, she's not really gonna bring you that much to the team.
Yeah. And even on arena picks in general, she's more a niche pick. You're
Exactly.
gonna
Yeah.
use you're gonna use her for some situations, but not every situation.
Yeah.
Like Nice or Siegfried or some other champions.
Mm-hmm.
But in general, her performance on dungeons it's bad. On Hydra is not that good.
Yeah.
So she shines on arena and not crazy shines. But what she's meant to do now, she can do.
Exactly. So you agree with the B tier on her?
I agree.
Perfect. And then we have the cock. We've got the
Galleus.
chicken, the mighty chicken of Rachel Legends. So you're getting Provoke, you're getting Revive on that. On the second form, the chicken should deal some damage, but unfortunately the multipliers are pretty weak. So the main thing that you can do with the chicken is have him as a Provoker in the Hydra Clan boss. Have, of course, that revive on that, the counter attack on him, have him like a mischief target. With the revive on that, he could potentially be a bit more useful in dungeons, in Doom Tower, etc. for people struggling their Curse series. You're getting that provoke as well. What's your take on the chicken?
On the Synchronos, Cursed City.
Yeah,
If you use Galleus, you're gonna clean the room very
Yeah.
easily because he provokes, he brings the decrease defense, he do everything, he do the damage, he do the debuffs, everything by himself.
hmm
But he doesn't do enough damage to shine on arena. He doesn't have enough damage to shine in the biggest difficult of Hydra, the most difficult ones, Nightmare and Brutal. But below that, for hard and normal, he can do very good amount of damage. Even his A1 hits good on targets that are squishier. He can spread a lot of damage using his A1 and his second form.
yeah,
On Hydra, he shines really good on normal and hard and normal difficult. But over that, he will lose so much damage compared to other champions that I don't think he's crazy good. If he had a buff on his damage or
Yeah.
ignore defense, he has potential.
Absolutely. That's what he needs. He just needs more damage. Like the rest, I like the first form, yes. He can offer a lot of support, but the second form is really, really bad. So, considering that he's not really shining anywhere, I do think that, in my opinion, he's a C minus at the moment, a C, somewhere there with Calamitus, you know.
I
I do think
agree.
that he's a bit better than Calamitus just because he offers you that support and stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna actually try to put him in front of Calamitus, and we're gonna try to kind of like portray a bit of a ranking here in the C list to kind of like get the worst mythical out of all of them. Then we have Toshiro, super powerful in one area, and that is the Hydra clan boss. Other than that, in my opinion, Toshiro doesn't really do anything spectacular. I've seen a lot of people saying nowadays that he should get a buff because of the new Void legendary champion that's being added for the Shadow Kings. You know, what do you think about Toshiro?
If you nerf Trenda right now, this champion probably will be the strongest hitter for Hydra
Yeah,
outside the weak swell compositions. In general, he's the biggest raw damage until now on Hydra, if you take away Trenda.
yeah,
And that's the only area that he's going to shine. He shines on the first form. It's a
yeah,
mythical that shines on the first form. It's very different because usually they shine more, with rare exceptions, they shine more in the second form. But he shines with a very distinct kit on the first form. And he's another champion that has double source of damage, HP and attack. But on the first form, you're going to focus more on attack
yeah.
than on HP. He's very interesting for Hydra, but nothing else than that. Until now, at least.
Yeah, I think so too. Like for Hydra is definitely very solid. Where would you put this champion on the tier list?
I would put him minus.
B minus.
You know,
I think I would give him a B plus personally, just because he is so powerful in a Hydra and considering how important he is, you know. But I definitely think that maybe some touches, if they plan to make him useful in other areas, will be required in the future. If not, he will stay as the #1 GOAT for the Hydra clan boss because that Randa needs to come down at some point from there. I'm not sure yet what changes they are doing to the Hydra clan boss, but they are working on them, and definitely very curious to see what they have in plan.
if he get nerfed, Toshiro's value instantly goes up by
A lot, yeah.
very big amount of numbers.
Yeah. So then we have Lady Mikage, the only mythical fusion that we have in the game. I feel like initially most of the people were a bit like, she's not that great, but she's definitely very, very nice. If you pair her with Shadow King champions for the Hydra, any content, they become way more powerful. She's doing a lot, increasing the duration of buffs, decreasing the duration of debuffs, increase attack, increase crit damage, ally attack, the second form, increase accuracy, sleep, remove buffs. So much stuff happening with her kit. Very powerful in dungeons, very powerful in arena, very powerful in pretty much all the content. What's your opinion on her?
I think overall she's an S tier because she's one of the few mythicals that you can use almost everywhere. She's godlike on arena. Most of the accounts that are not crazy whales gonna have her on their best teams. I do have on my account her in one of my best teams. She can do crazy good in a few amount of dungeons. She's the best one on Fire Knight, but she can also help a lot in Dragon and on Ice Golem, depends on the composition you use. Even other compositions on Shogun and things like that, she can be used. So she shines on arena, she shines on dungeons, and she's crazy good on Hydra.
Yeah.
Crazy good. Toshiro's value is skyrocket because of her. She
Yep.
doubles the damage of the Toshiro. And not only Toshiro, many other champions that are very useful on Hydra, like Harima, Mishinaki, and many others, she will bring them with her A1. And her kit has so much utility for that. Extending buffs, decreasing the duration of debuffs, attack up, increase accuracy, weaken, remove buffs, everything in a single champion. Brother, she's incredible and she's free.
Yeah, free if you manage to collect the champions. Eventually, everybody will that continues to play, of course. Where would you put her? Would you put her at S tier?
Tier.
Yeah, I think
no
so.
doubt.
Yeah, so I do think that comparing her with Galathir and stuff like this, she might be a bit on the minus side, minus S tier, but she's definitely very, very solid there, to be honest. And then we have Siegfrund, probably the best buff any mythical champion got in the game, guys. Not only that he looks fantastic as a design, especially on the second form, Right now, he's the craziest damage dealer in the entire game, regardless if we're talking about PvP or PvE. I know I fought this guy one time from the Dogmaro account, and Shuzan into him, bang, hit my Krixia, and broke all the stone skin on the rest of them, and they went to sleep. Of course, he does have probably a crazy build on him, but either way, Siegfrund enables you to speed farm tons of different dungeons. He has a support form as well. Very powerful for Siege, very powerful for pretty much every content. Of course, not insanely good for Hydra or Clan Boss, but if we leave all that on the side, I do think that he is an S tier. What do you think about him?
You don't have a single world record on the
Without him.
Without him. He half of the world records is using these champions, even more than one if possible.
Yeah.
So he's incredible in dungeons, but very gear intensive, very whale compositions. But you cannot take that out of him. He's insane on dungeons and on arena, brother. If you got one, use it.
Yeah.
Because he's the most incredible champion of this game. One of the most funny ones to play. And very hard to play against.
Yeah, definitely. He doesn't have many counters. Nice being one of them, of course, having a Narcissus and a new champion that they've added to the game. Frolni now, but we're going to talk about that in a second. Yeah. But I do think that he's S tier. You agree with that?
Yeah, the first one at S tier, on my opinion.
So Mikage, you don't think Mikage is an S tier?
No, I think she's S tier, but the first on the list is Siegfried.
The first out of all of them. Got you. Like the most nasty one. Then we have Alshnar. We talked a bit about him as well. He provokes. He brings the HP burn. He can heal your team because he applies HP burn on your team as well, if I remember it correctly. Then the second form is meant to deal damage. He ignores some defense, but the damage is just not there. So he does need a bit of a buff on multipliers. Again, it's kind of like the same situation like with the chicken, with Calamitus. He just needs a bit of a touch from Plarium. Just turn up that damage button a little bit, and I think he can have some amazing potential. What's your take? Where would you put him on the tier list?
Yeah, he should burn souls, but he's barely burned the outfit of the champions or the Hydra or anything. He needs some love. He needs some love. He needs more power. You know, he needs to do more than what he does right now, because he does the same thing that legendary or even epic champions does.
Yeah.
So he's basically a Lego right now, but with using
mythical skin. Yeah.
So I would put him C-, or D.
Yeah, I think he belongs in the C tier right there with the Calamitus and the chicken. If I have to decide in between him and Calamitus, will be a pretty close battle, to be honest. I feel like both of them are equally bad from this point of view. Then we have Gharol. Gharol with the first form kind of like tries to replicate a bit Leorius and his passive with the way the damage works on her, the ally protection, the unkillable, if I remember it correctly. And then she has the second form, which doesn't have the craziest damage in PvP or in dungeons necessarily. For Hydra, she shines. She brings quite a bit of damage, right? Not the most powerful one anymore, but I do think that she is a pretty nice champion. What's your quick take on her?
She got a very interesting kit because she's the fusion between Bronda and Leorius.
Yeah.
You know? As more she loses HP, more damage she will do. At the same time, as you have hits on your opponent, more times she will attack on her second form.
Yeah, that's fun.
She can do damage. She can do a lot of damage, even more if she's with low HP. The problem with her probably it's you need her on the second form. It's always an AoE.
Yeah.
But I definitely don't like her affinity to what she does. I think if she was red affinity or blue affinity, she would fit more into the metas right now. I think her color makes a little bit of the difference on her, because she's a raw damage dealing champion. She only got the damage of the 2 skill that her got on the kit, and most of the strong champions we have right now are blue affinity.
Yeah.
So she will hit 30% of the time against them. And that's make a huge difference if you only have the raw damage to do. But on Hydra, she shines a lot.
Yeah.
And on Arena, on the right situation, she will obliterate the enemy. Obliterate.
Yeah, I
That's my
think I think she's decent. I would personally put her in the B tier. What do you think about that?
me too. B
Yep.
minus,
Yeah, B
probably.
minus, yeah, around there, yeah. And then we have Gizmak. I summoned him. I wasn't too excited about summoning him because of polymorph and all that, but oh boy, when you don't have that polymorph around, and now you have the pinpoint, changes a lot of things, right? Very good set. He's one of the craziest damage dealers in the game, and not the hardest hitting like Siegfrund in dungeons and all that, but just in general, ignoring the unkillable, the block damage when they're under HP burn. Very good counter to Siegfrund, for example, to
Yeah.
Marichka and the rest of them. Not requiring accuracy to land the defense down, the HP burn, buffing himself. I think he's very, very nasty. What's your quick take on him?
I used to say on my streams that if it wasn't for Polymorph, probably he would be the strongest nuker in the game.
In the game, yeah.
But that's the thing with him. He's not only a nuker, he can do everything. Brother, his damage on Hydra is very high because he can do the damage with HP burn. He can change forms, put decreased defense, and smack AoE with both A1 and A2.
Yep.
He will bring utility to the team with the unkillable plus the ally protection and the taunt. So his second form is a mix between tank and the damage dealing, and he has double source of damage, defense and HP, and that's incredible because you can be so tank. Yeah, at the same time you do a lot of damage, and on the first form, the HP burn mechanic that doesn't need accuracy, and you start putting the HP burn that you can instantly activate, makes him crazy good for half of the dungeons. Half of the dungeons, he's one of the best champions, and he can solo many of them. On Hydra, he's definitely S tier, and for the arena, he's also an S tier. So he's one of the few champions that you have almost everywhere that you play him S tier. Even on campaign, he can be a campaign fauna with only A1, and he will do it very quickly, very fast.
Yeah.
So he shines everywhere. He's an incredible champion. If you tell me, choose one champion to start a new account, I think Gizmak is the champion that's gonna make you progress the fastest out of all champions.
I think so too, because the gear requirements won't be as insane. The burn and the support that he offers, the extra turn on the kills, which is so damn good. I do personally think that he is up there as an S tier champion, in my opinion. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I would put him between Siegfrund and Mikage.
And Mikage, I think so too. Yeah, definitely very, very solid champion. And then we have Queen Krixia. Very powerful champion. I love the idea of having one form doing a thing and the second form doing the exact opposite of the first form. Very useful in Arena. I feel like outside of Arena, though, even though she brings you the support that she does, I just don't find her very useful in other content. Yes, she can work on the new Odin dungeon, being immune to stun and all that. But I feel like just in general, I don't really think she's extremely useful like clan boss, Hydra, or dungeons, you know? What do you think about that?
She can do the same role as Kaimara or Renegade or Yume could do on dungeon teams that need to refresh the skills. So we need to give points
credit for that, I guess, yeah.
Yeah. She needs to be recognized for that because she got that role. But on Arena is the place that she shines the most. And she's incredible on Arena. After Pinpoint even more.
Yeah.
It's
I was gonna say
impossible to tank her. If you see a Krixia and you don't have champions that can work without their skills, you're gonna have trouble.
Absolutely.
You're gonna have trouble.
I do think she's an S tier, though. Either way, I do think she's an S tier. She's very, very solid as a champion, you know.
Yeah. So even she directly do not do incredible things on dungeon by herself, but the utility she brings to the team is something I would recognize. So I would put her on an A tier.
Would you put her, you would put her on A tier, yeah?
Yeah.
I would definitely give her S tier, to be honest, but just to have a bit of a compromising here, we're gonna put her at the very top of the A tier with a plus in front there, you know?
If it was only arena, definitely she would be.
Yeah,
She would be.
I totally
I
agree
no
with it.
doubt.
I totally agree with it. Then we have Komidus. Now, Komidus is a pretty interesting one. We already talked a bit about the champion. Not only that he bombs, though, right? Because I feel like most of the people just think of this champion as a bomber, but he does have AoE, remove buffs, block active skills, steals stir meter, lock active skills on a champion, steals 100% of the turn meter, which is very strong on the first form as a crowd control champion and just to keep the enemy at bay. The second form, weaken, heals the champion, removes, actually puts the weaken and takes an extra turn, sorry. And then the bombs, if they don't kill the bombs, then he places a stun, but he instantly detonates them if they're under stone skin, which makes him so deadly for PvP. Now, for PvE content, he can be useful. Curse City, even in dungeons as a control, if you got the champion, you know, and stuff like that. Yes, he's not insane for Hydra, not insane for Clan Boss, but I feel like for the other areas, he's not doing a bad job with his first and second form, to be honest. What do you think about him?
He's the first of his kind, the first champion in the game that has another source of damage to bombs.
Yep,
Until
exactly.
now, we just had attack champions, and attack champions are need the attack up and things like that
Yep.
to have their bombs doing something. Komidus not only brought a bomb with a different source of damage, but he's also able to put the bomb, detonate the bomb, and he doesn't need anything like defense up or attack up to be useful with that. He changed the arena meta. The live arena meta changed completely because of him, plus the pinpoint set. He wouldn't do nothing on arena without pinpoint. So he needs to thank the Odin to bring that to the game. And right now, on the arena, he's the strongest champion in the game. No doubt. On this meta, if you see a Komidus on the other side of your arena, you're gonna need to pay attention on him. Otherwise, he's gonna to win the battle solo. Yeah. And it's gonna be a 3 seconds battle.
Is definitely dangerous. Where would you place Komidus on the tier list?
Overall, I would put him on B tier. But if it was only arena, I would put him as the first placement on S tier.
S tier.
Because outside arena, he doesn't bring much to your team.
Yeah. I think personally, I think he's definitely like a B plus, A minus, just because he brings a lot of other utility. So I'm gonna put him first on the B tier right here, but definitely with room to move into the A tier. We have Galathir Starsage. I heard this is the worst mythical in the game. Nobody wants him, and he's pretty useless, right?
That was my first mythical, brother.
You got lucky, huh?
Yeah. I love him just because he was my first mythical. I loved him, even if he was bad. But he's amazing.
He's amazing.
Amazing, brother. In every area of the game, he's a champion that can make your entire team survive, and at the same time, he would make your entire opponent team do not move or do anything relevant. So he's the perfect fusion between a support and a ground control in one single champion with very high status. He's the reviver, he's the protector, he's the debuffer, the crowd control, everything at the same time, and he looks good.
Absolutely, he does look very, very good. He's definitely one of my most favorite looking mythical champions in the game. And as you mentioned, tons of survivability, the passive keeping him alive, you know, the damage reduction that he has from the passives as well, the revive, the veil, the cleanse, the block debuffs, the turn meter, and everything else that he does is just absolutely insane. So there is no doubt that he is one of the most powerful mythical champions in the entire game. So I would definitely put him as an S tier champion all around, even in front of Siegfrund, in my opinion.
I agree. Wherever you put him on S tier, he deserves.
He deserves it, yeah, because he's that good. Then we have... go on, sorry.
There is one more thing about Galathir. He's so incredible that you're going to have trouble into choosing which set you're going to put on him.
On him, yeah.
Because many champions, you have a set in mind. He's going to be a damage dealer, savage, or merciless. Galathir works in more than 10 different sets, and he works very well with all these 10 different sets. So the sky's the limit for the possibilities this champion got.
100%. I've seen a lot of people building him in Relentless as well, which can be pretty nasty for him. But I feel like considering that he does have a very high chance to get Polymorph, Pinpoint still might be one of the best choices, at least for Live Arena.
Yeah,
Then we have Karnage, right? Mythical that you can get from the Curse City. What's your take on this champion? Personally, I haven't booked mine. I feel like I have other priorities. He does have the craziest base attack in the game, almost 2000 attack, which is pretty nuts. On paper, he should be dealing crazy damage. I think it's pretty hard to use him, to make the most out of him and actually get to block the revive, to have enough debuffs on the enemies to actually get the job done from the first form to the second. How are you feeling about Karnage the Anarch?
He was my second mythical after Galathir, and I was really happy with him, but he is very hard to build.
Yeah.
He can do
Accuracy and
damage,
attack.
and very good damage. His kit is incredible, but you're very susceptible to polymorph. At the same time, you need to land debuffs to him to work. But he's very fun to play with. He can destroy a battle by himself. And the very distinctive thing on him is how you're gonna build him. Because he's one of the few champions that you're gonna have a mixed way of attack and accuracy to build up your damage. Even on the skill itself, on the multiplier of the skill, you already got attack and accuracy.
Yep.
But his passive will also transform accuracy into critical damage. So you benefit more from the accuracy than attack itself, but in some degree. So he's one of the few champions that you're gonna build him with accuracy chest, accuracy banner instead of attack chest and attack banner to have the most amount of damage you can. It's a very interesting build, very different. At the same time, it's very hard to build him because he needs speed, he needs attack, he needs accuracy, he needs critical damage, he needs critical hate. Five status that he needs. Usually a champion only needs 3. So it's very hard to build him. But the possibilities are very high too.
Definitely. Where would you put this champion on the tier list?
I think I would put him top of B tier probably.
Would you? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's around here. I feel like in a way or another, Mezomel is a bigger threat than him, to be honest. And
right now, probably she is. Well, at least a more guaranteed threat. But this champion, he has some general utility with the counter attack, with the block passive, the block active, the block revive, everything. The same thing I would say to Gharol, I would say to him. His affinity, it's messing up with the possibilities he have right now, because blue affinity is the strongest affinity we have for this meta. So if he was red or blue, he would be picked more.
I definitely agree with that. But hey, considering that he brings quite a few different things on top of the arena damage and stuff, I do think that overall, yes, he should definitely be a bit in front of Mezomel. Gharol, she is very good for Hydra, but the rest of the things not as great. We have Alaz The Sunbearer. This was my second mythical champion, actually, and oh boy, what do you think about him?
Bro, he can max.
He absolutely very good damage.
My favorite defense nuker, it was Harima, no doubt. But when Alaz came into the game, I'm sorry, Harima, but I have to say he took her place as probably the best defense nuker in the game. I wouldn't say the best because Gizmak has HP and defense, so he's also a defense nuker. But only defense, he's the best nuker in the game for defense.
Yeah.
And the possibility his A1 and A3 brings to his kit on the first form, it's amazing. It's amazing. Put him with UDK on your team, use the A3 and have fun. have fun. Your UDK is gonna provoke everybody and things like that. If you have a nuker UDK, he will do a lot of damage with the block damage and the counter attack. Not only UDK, all your team. He can save you
Yeah,
a lot in many hours of the game. Many hours. Synchronos. If you have Alaz on your team, you're gonna do
easy
any.
peasy. Yeah.
Yeah, any. The only thing that I would change on him
Let's see if it's
is
the
his
same
best
thing that I
form.
would change. Let's see. What is it?
Yeah, the first form
Yeah.
is the best form. So if it was on the second form, he would be immune
Yeah.
to the skill
Lockout.
lockers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's exactly what I would do to him. Just swap the forms around because the second form is good too. He does a bit of damage, not as crazy as the first form, right? But he does offer you some support there, a bit of healing. He can melt the stone skin too, with the HP burn and stuff. That could be nice to be on the first form, and then allow you to move to the second one. But I totally agree. I think he's very powerful in pretty much every content as a support and as a damage
even
dealer
on
at the same
Hydra.
time. So I do think
Even on
he
Hydra.
yeah, I use him on Hydra quite a bit, and he's definitely pretty solid. I would definitely give him an A tier, and he gets the
Yeah, me
provoke
too.
too for the Hydra.
Just one thing: if you got an Alas, build him with defense. Do not try to build him on HP
Yeah,
because you're gonna regret it. I tried him with every single good set I had on HP, and his damage on the second form was not that good. But on the first form with defense, oh my god, he's max. He's one of the few champions that can kill an ice
yeah.
without having to
I, I
combo
I
with
was
the.
gonna say that, but then I was like, maybe it's a bug. I don't want player to find out about it, because
Oh god,
you just tap him with the A2, and the second form comes on ice, but he dies.
yeah,
I guess that's exactly what you were thinking about as well. But I'm not sure still if it's a bug because
he's not.
it
You have
might
to have
not be.
enough damage to kill the first form entirely with the first
The
hit,
first hit, yeah,
and
yeah.
to
And
kill the
probably that's what
second
happens. Yeah,
form.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. He's
It's
he's
very only a few champions can do it. Only a few.
very strong. Then we have Lazarius. I feel like he's a very useful champion in quite a bit of content. He can play the role of a Thermiter booster, support, reviver, block debuffs, immunity, increase attack, increase speed with the aura. Then he has the damage with lockouts. If you kill enemies and stuff, he brings his own increase attack and increase crit damage. I find him very useful for PvE content as well, especially Hydra, where I'm using him. And I do think he can be used in many different areas in PvE content, to be honest with you. And for Arena, he's definitely top. It's hard to play him sometimes if the enemies ban the rest of your damage dealers and he's the only one left versus Harimas, maybe a Taras and a Marichka. It gets a bit harder to play him out. But I still think he's a deadly weapon in the right hands.
Agree totally. He's one of the most versatile
Yeah.
champions. All right now, he's not being used as damage dealer for most of the top arena players because he has the best kit for a speed booster. He boosts attack. He puts strength and attack up.
Yeah.
He boosts 20% of your speed. He decreases 20% of the enemy. He has the insane amount of base speed, and he's a mythical, which gives him more status with blessings and empowerment. And he also has the aura with 24%.
25, yeah.
So he has the perfect skill kit for a speed booster, and he combos with Teox and things like that. At the same time, you can do damage even using him as a support champion. You can do damage with the second form and bring the utility of the second form, ignoring things, taking out turn meter, reset skills on locking skills on your opponent. Everything. This champion is incredible. On Doc Morroy's account, he's the champion that I pick the most right
You see,
now.
yeah? He's definitely very solid, and that lizard team with Teox is just absolutely disgusting. I use my Lazarius quite a bit as well, to be honest. Where would you put him on the tier list?
That's a hard choice
I know it is
because
pretty hard, isn't it?
yeah, right now looking overall, I think I would put him between Siegfrund and Galathir but he can be between Siegfrund and Gizmak, or even between Gizmak and Mikage, but definitely Estia, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
I think so. I think he belongs kind of like in between them two, just because of the utility that he brings. He's just such a versatile champion, as you mentioned, and useful in so many different areas. And I know some people will be like, "What? Krixia is only A tier." Uh, trust, guys. She's very, very strong as well, and she's an A plus minus S tier, if that makes you feel better. Then we have Androc, the champion that you're missing on that account. He is a pretty interesting-ish champion for the Hydra clan boss as a support. AoE increased defense with a basic skill, which is pretty nice. AoE attack increases the duration of buffs, a bit of healing. Then you have the increased resistance, the strengthen, the continuous heal. You have the passive, which increases the resistance a bit. Critical hits inflict meter, which is nice to help the team to rotate faster. Defense aura for all battles. The second form, you have defense down on all enemies. You have a decreased resistance and weaken. You have the enfeeble, which got nerfed on bosses and is pretty irrelevant for the majority of the content now. And then you have a cleanse, removes all buffs from all enemies, not a cleanse, and deals pure damage to each enemy, equal to 5% of the target's max HP, which cannot be critical and kind of sucks. And you get a block buffs on all enemies. So his kit really sounds good for Hydra as a support champion, right? I would personally not use him if I would have him. So I wouldn't use him if I would have the champion in any of my Hydra teams. I don't think I would drop Lazarius from the team. I don't think I would drop Feral from my other team. So I won't have a use for this champion on my account, especially for Hydra. And that's the only place where he kind of like really shines. I'm not saying he cannot offer you support in dungeons if you get him early game, mid game, progression wise. Yes, he's gonna help you, of course. Every single one of them will help you somewhere. But other than that, I'm not feeling him that much. What do you think about it?
If I open a Primal Shard right now and I see the red lightning come out of it, the only champion that I will be sad getting it's Androc at this moment.
Is it, yeah?
The only one. Yeah, because he's the only one that I think I wouldn't even level up right now unless I got nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't lose books on him, wasting books on him and things like that. In my opinion, he's D-tier. He's the only mythical that deserves the D-tier, but he's also the only one that really needs to be buffed in front of all the
Everybody
other
else,
champions.
yeah.
So if Plaren is going to make another season of buffs and things like that, I think he's the first name on the list.
Probably
And,
because I think they're taking it in the order on how they introduce the champions in the game, you know?
Probably.
Yeah.
So he's close. He's close.
I think, yeah, kind of like a C minus together with the other ones, you know? I feel like some of them provide some form of different utility and stuff, but he's really just kind of like doing a job in the Hydra clan boss and not really shining anywhere else. Then go on, sorry.
He does not do anything that a legendary or even epics won't do by himself. That's why I don't think he's nothing
I
good,
feel what you
nothing
mean, yeah.
meaningful about him right now besides the looking.
And the metamorph, yeah.
Yeah.
Frolni The Mechanist got a buff. We have 2 more mythicals left on our list, guys. And yes, a couple of them, both of them actually got a buff recently. So Frolni initially was considered one of the worst mythicals in the game, and that's mainly because he did not have enough firepower, right? His damage was lacking a bit on the first form. Initially, when they introduced him, we all thought that he's gonna be, wow, the passive, oh my god, right? Everybody went crazy. All of the skills, they sounded like super, super amazing, and the damage was just not there for Frolni. But they buffed him, they just increased the damage on him, to be honest. The second form is not the craziest one, yes, ally protection and killable. He can be a fairly decent ally protection champion, a good tank, right? But I feel like his first form now is definitely very powerful for live arena, potentially for classic arena, depending what teams you're attacking, you know. And yes, he's very useful in the curse series and different areas like this. Not the most insane for dungeons and stuff, clan boss or Hydra, but I feel like he's definitely putting in some serious work now.
Yeah, after the buff, I many times got the situation that I need to choose the last nuker, and I have all the options in the game on Dog's account.
Mm-hmm.
And when you got Siegfrund, Nice, every single champion that are definitely S tier, I'm picking Frolni instead of them right now because the utility he's bringing with the safety he's bringing is something that is really relevant. This buff made a kit that was already good, that only needed a little twist, only a little bit of raw damage.
Yeah.
Made this champion very viable right now, very viable. And for progressive fights, that the situation you're gonna find the most on Live Arena, fights that do not get 30 seconds and they are over. No, they will take 1 minute and a half, even 15
Yeah,
minutes
yeah.
sometimes. He's getting stronger and stronger and stronger and harder to kill at the same time, harder to tank. So he can evaporate an enemy team if he kills two champions. At the same time, if you have nothing to do, you're desperate to survivability, you can change form and guarantee at least 2 to 3 turns to your entire team without dying because of his second form. At the same time, Nuker's gonna hit on his second form and they're gonna die because of their own damage. That's very funny. Try to use a Rotos against him, and you're gonna see Rotos die from his own damage. It's very funny.
Yeah, the
The
reflect,
same
yeah.
for Mezomel and things like that, because his reflect damage is
80%.
incredible, and he will heal your entire team and don't let them die. That's amazing, amazing, amazing. Now he's one of the champions that I didn't use it, but now I'm using, and the win rate I got on Live Arena with this champion is amazing.
He's
Really amazing.
He's a very good counter to Siegfrund, in my opinion, with that
Yeah,
A2.
if
Very, very
Siegfried does not
powerful.
have Stone Skin, yes. If
Yeah.
Siegfried does Stone Skin, he steals the Stone Skin, but at the same time he will proc
Proc the passive, yeah.
the passive. So you won't kill Siegfried, and you're gonna give a turn to Siegfried. So if Siegfried has a Stone Skin, do not try to steal it. Wait for him to lose it and kill him in a single blow.
Where would you put him on the tier list?
Overall, I would put him on B tier because he's not good anywhere besides Arena or Synchronous. But on Arena only, S tier for sure.
Yeah, I think he's definitely better. I would put him behind Toshiro, just because of his overall utility. I do think he's very powerful for Arena after the buff. Now he definitely got quite a good touch. And we have our final mythical, Aphidus, who was definitely the worst, actually, so we cannot take that away from him. But now, he's actually not in that situation anymore. He can bring in some nice damage for the Hydra clan boss. He's not going to be the most OP mythical champion, but he ignores defense. The HP burn, ignoring more defense. The increased attack, which is very nice because he's on all allies, you know. Either activates the HP burn, either places the HP burn, which is actually interesting again. I feel like the second form is still not the most interesting thing, you know, with the increased accuracy, the AoE stun, good crowd control, provoke strength, and increased defense. Can work for Hydra too. But I feel like what's the better thing on him now is the first form, the damage that he brings in the Hydra. He's not at the Gharol level in terms of damage, but considering everything else that he brings, I do think he's definitely in a much better spot than he was before.
Definitely. I would like to say one thing. For Hydra is the place that everybody, when see his kid, say, okay, he's gonna shine on Hydra.
Yeah.
But right now, he shines in other areas of the game. There is teams for Dragon and Fire Knight under 20 seconds that uses
With him.
Aphidus as damage dealing. And he without him, it's impossible to do this kind of runs. He brings everything the team needs. So you have world record teams almost with him on dungeons. So you cannot deny that he has a role on the dungeons that he can do. He can clear waves and restore himself very quickly, very efficiency wise, and he can do damage at the boss at the same time. So he clear waves and do damage at the boss at the same time. He's a very good team. So right now, I think he was meant to be a Hydra champion, but he has a better usage on dungeons.
Yeah.
In the end of the game. So because of that, I would rank him a little higher than I would if it was only Hydra. At the same time, I had the hope he was going to do well in arena with the ignore defense mechanics and things like that. And I really think he has a cool looking animation and things like that on the second form, but he's still not good enough to be used on arena.
Yeah, no, I
That
don't think
said,
he's good for that. Where would you put him on the tier list?
I think I would put him bit higher, but in front of Throne itself.
Yeah,
Because
I
overall,
literally had the exact same thing in mind. So right after Toshiro, in my opinion, because he does have way more utility than Gharol, right? Gharol is nice.
yeah,
She does bring good damage for the Hydra, but as we mentioned, she's not really gonna do anything too insane uh, out of that area of the game. But this is the tier list, guys. Ultimate tier list for all of the mythical champions. Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. I know a lot of you guys might have one mythical champion and is one of these champions from the list, of course. Let us know what's your experience with them. What do you think about the tier list? What would you change on the tier list, of course? And Cruzan, was a pleasure to have you on the channel. Guys, make sure you head over and check his channel out. Will be in the pinned comment. And let us know what's happening with your channel. Any plans for the future?
yeah. I'm a player more focused on the end game on the arena, but I need to expand that and bring the PvE world into my world and make a fusion between them. So I'm starting to do a more approaches on PvE content. That is something that I like to do, but not in compared to arena.
Gotcha. Sounds good, bro. Was a pleasure to have you on the channel, guys. Appreciate all of you guys watching. I know this ended up in being a pretty long video. I'm gonna try to fix it all nice for you so you can go from faction to faction. But as usual, much love, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.